What is up, producers? Welcome to Low End Candy. I am Behemoth, and today we're going to talk about how to make a build in Ableton Live. Making a build can seem very straightforward until you try to do it, and it doesn't sound impactful, it doesn't sound correct, it doesn't sound cohesive. So in this video, in just about 10 short minutes, we're going to completely cover how to make a drop that sounds effective and bangs. A couple of the key elements that we're going to cover is what's taking place when we're creating a build. So when we're creating a build, specifically talking about an EDM build, what's happening is we're slowly taking away elements. That way we can give them back all when the drop hits. So we're slowly taking away the low end frequencies and we're slowly reducing the gain on top of 5 or 6 other different methods we're gonna do. And that way what that's gonna do is when the drop hits and we bring in that bass, it's gonna sound super impactful and super heavy, and it's gonna be the loudest part of the song. We're also gonna work on foreshadowing and how you can use this technique to make your build cohesive with your drop. Go ahead and toss me a like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. I have this rough track I'm working on here, and I'm going to utilize this to show you what we're trying to accomplish when we're building a build. So if you've ever made a track and you put together a build and the drop hits and the drop's not impactful and the transition sounds weird and the levels are off and it just doesn't bang like some of the tracks you've heard, I'm going to explain to you why that is, and we're going to show you how to fix that. So what a build essentially is a lot of things. You are introducing the next section that's coming. You are basically playing an illusion on the listener that elements are gone and then they come back in full force. So what I mean by that is, in a build such as here, what we want to do is we want to take things away from the listener so we can give them back to them. So if we came in here and we slowly removed all the low end frequencies, just a little bit, almost unnoticeable, that way when the bass hits right here and we fully give them the bass back, it's going to sound that much impactful and that big. We can kind of play that same game with the overall volume of the project by incremental amounts. I'm talking like 1 or 2 dBs. So it's not really audible, but they can more so feel it. So we're taking those elements away from them to give them back so that drop is super impactful. So I would do something like come in here and, again, like on all of our elements of our track, we're going to come in here and we're going to put a utility. We're going to show the automation, and what we're going to do is, starting like way back here, we're going to decrease it over time to about -2.5. Like that's more than enough. That's plenty. And then we're going to make sure it goes back to 0. That's way low. And then we're going to edit value 2.5. So now what we have is we have this nice, slow, and very subtle removal of some volume. So it's very subtly getting quiet. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce the auto filter, and we're going to do something like remove the lows, maybe up to like, let's say up to like 400. So we're going to start here with them fully in, and then as we get closer, we're going to put them at about 400. And this really kind of depends situation to situation. And then we're going to give them all the lows back. So we have a little bit of like gain reduction. We have a little bit of like the removal of some frequencies. One more thing that we're going to do to take something away from the listener to bring it back and make it impactful is we're going to do some stereo imaging and some narrowing. So what I mean by that is we have our stereo field here. So if we look at this track, we have all this information on the sides and we have a good wide stereo image. Now, if we come up here into the build, and what we're going to do is we're going to automate the width down so it slowly gets more narrow. So like from here to maybe here, and we can see visually what that's going to do to our stereo image. Then once again, it's completely taken away, and then it's brought back, and it's impactful, and everybody goes crazy. That's a pretty extreme example. I wouldn't narrow it that much, but just to show you the technique. A little bit, again, incremental amounts, maybe even unnoticeable. And then we have to think of what else is happening on a build. So we also have, aside from taking things away so we can introduce them harder, we are also like bringing them up almost like we're on a roller coaster. So we're like raising up in frequency, up in pitch, like everything's speeding up so we can like kind of tell them that like the drop is coming. So like a couple ways we can accomplish this is with a shifter. So a shifter is a frequency shifter, and we typically wouldn't use this on our master, but we can use this to like bring all the frequencies up. So we're like over time we're like going up, and then that way it's like kind of giving them that effect that it's like bringing them up towards the drop. Another thing that is absolutely critical for building a good build is foreshadowing. So just like a movie, if we're watching a movie, they have foreshadowing, which would be like they're letting you know that a certain character or a certain thing is coming. That's a big part of like movies. Like maybe they'll play a certain song like when a certain character is coming on, or like when something's about to happen, they do like the same kind of thing. Same thing with music. So like if you've made a build and it just sounds super awkward and like super different, like a different song when it changes, try something like this and I guarantee you it'll help a lot. So what I did here was I have a condensed and kind of like dialed back version of what's in the drop. So we have this main synth, which is, this is a remake of a song by Craddy called Android Porn. But this is like the main drop there, and I kind of use it in my track as like the chops are like kind of like a secondary part of the drop. So what I do is I introduce it, and again, like it's filtered out, as we can see down here. It's got all the lows taken out. It's got some like echo on it. It's very much pushed back and like kind of like, it's not the main focus, but it's telling us this is coming. So that way when the drop comes in, it doesn't sound like it's out of left field. And with something like this, there's all kinds of different stuff we can do. If there's like a certain like rhythm, like if there's a certain set of notes or like a melody that's in the drop, I'll like put that melody in the build as like an arpeggio, or like maybe pitch down in a different instrument. So like even if subconsciously the listener is picking up on like, oh, like this sound is here, so it's like coming in the drop. So that's a very useful tool. Of course, like the stereotypical speeding up of drums, so like a snare build. This is like building the energy and preparing them for what's to come. Time to get real. So one plugin I've used throughout the years that's really just expedites this and takes the guesswork out, because it's called One Knob Build. It's a Max for Live one. It's like $3. I'll link it in the description. But this has all these different presets here, and these basically you can just like automate this build, like this knob here, over your build, and it just like pretty much does all the work for you. So like it'll have like the cut of the low frequencies, it'll have the cut of the gain, it'll have like a sweep, a washout, like the like delay or the reverb, so it feels like it's getting further back, and it just does everything, makes it really easy. So like if we wanted to like do like a sweep, we can literally just show the automation here, come down here. You don't usually want to overdo it, so you don't want to go to like 100 because that's like fully wet, but like even like 0.5%, like we'll like we can listen here and we can hear the difference. Real. Time to get real. So what that's doing is, in addition to like we talked about of like filtering out the lows so we can give them back, reducing the volume so we can give it back in the drop, giving it like some riser elements, so like some sweep, some white noise. It's also with like washouts and delay, what it's doing is it's pushing everything back. So like with spatial effects, it makes everything seem further away. So like in addition to like reducing those other elements so we can give them back, we're also like pushing everything away, so then that way we can like put it right in front of the listener. So this plugin's super dope. It's like $3. I'll link it. I definitely recommend checking it out. So to summarize, the elements you're going to introduce in your song to make your build effective are, we're going to take away aspects to give them back. So that's going to be auto filter. That's going to be a gain reduction. And then we're going to push everything back. So we're going to want to, in some situations, add reverb and delay. So everything seems far away. And then it's far away, it's remove these elements, and then they can just come back in and they sound that much more impactful. That mixed with the speeding up of the elements, think of like the roller coaster comparison of like everything's going up, so where the pitch is going up, the speed is going up, and then that way when we go down and we hit our drop, everything just hits perfectly. So I really hope this helped you guys. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.